this is Gilgamesh. I want to talk about this movie right here. Together, this poster gives you a hint of what you're going to see in this movie. I saw it twice, and it's absolutely terrifying. The idea of this story. The cast in this is great. It's Dave Franco, Alison Brie. He plays Tim, she plays Millie, and then you got Damien Herriman, who plays Jamie. They're the main cast, and then you have Melanie Betty. She's Millie's best friend. And here's the thing: two Americans, both Australian. I didn't look up the rest of this, but the thing about this movie is this poster right here tells you what you're seeing here will happen in this movie. But I'm getting a little ahead. Essentially, here's the premise, and then I'll get into is due to something that happens, the brain and body get disconnected, and the body wants to literally meld with the other person. So, doesn't matter whether it's human, animal, whatever, what happens, it wants to fuse, like permanently join and become one new being. That's absolutely, the idea of that is terrifying. So in this movie, we get the beginning of it. I'm going to get into the plot now. We hear people looking for a couple. They're missing, and there's a guy with two dogs, and they end up in this cave. And there's in this cave, a weird pool of water, and it's got this sort of what look like almost fingers in the water, and these two dogs drink the water. And then all of a sudden you see them looking at each other. Like they're staring at each other, like they can't do anything but stare. Like their bodies, and then later after their owner takes them back home, puts them in the cage, they're sitting there, and you can hear their wincing because what's about to happen. You hear this noise, you hear the whining from the dogs. When the daughter says, "Hey Dad, something's up, about the dogs," he goes to check, and he hears like bones and stuff. And then pan up and you see, what the fuck am I looking at? Oh, are these two dogs becoming, oh God. It's like, what the fuck am I looking at? That's the thing about this movie. From that on, what we get is Dave Franco, who will always say is a better actor than his older brother James, and Alison Brie, in real life, are a married couple since I think 2017. Play 35-year-olds. She's a teacher. He's a musician, and essentially, they're the stars of this movie. Now, Damien Herriman is this teacher, Jamie, who got her the job. They're moving to the country from the city because of her job, and he's a He wants to be a musician. Essentially, they're at a party, a send-off, and she does a whole proposing to him, and he kind of freezes, and it becomes very awkward, and it's kind of funny because he wasn't expecting her to do that. And then they move. He has a weird dream. This dream is like a nightmare with I guess it's supposed to be his. Well, later you find out that's supposed to be his mother and his father. Yeah. And essentially, Jamie is their neighbor, and he tells them about going for a hike. Okay. They go, they haven't had sex for a while. Her friend even brings this up. You should find a new guy because you clearly are not having sex. They're having issues in their relationship. And they move in, and he smells this smell, and he eventually figures out where it's come from, and he pulls out, it looks like a bunch of fucking rats. Yeah. And one of them suddenly moves, and it's like, what the? They all seem to be connected. This is a theme throughout the movie of things coming together. And he tosses it away and tells a story about his father, and give Dave Franco credit. The guy fucking can cry on cue. He starts breaking down about when he was a kid and his dad tearing the house apart, his bedroom apart, because he could smell this smell. Eventually, he finds out that above the light, a rat had decided to make home there, and every time he turned it, he was slowly cooking the rat. And he was breathing and didn't notice it, and that's why he noticed the smell. Then he brings up about his mother. Basically, he opens the door, he notices the smell, opens the door, and his mother's got this weird, like, crazy smile on her face, and his father's dead. So she's been in bed with his father, who's obviously dead, and she's just lost it. Ends up in a mental hospital, and he's just like, yeah, you get why he's screwed up. And so they decide that, you know, he's going to go out of town because he wants to tour with his bandmates. One of them is his girlfriend's brother, and so he's learning. You know, they're not, like I said, they're having their issues, like any couple in their 30s, or, you know, when you live together and you're both kind of, you know. He decides, let's go for a walk. So they end up walking, and it's nice, and they get kind of lost, like, where the hell are we? And they see this, Tim sees these bells. Well, that plays in the whole story. And eventually it suddenly starts raining, like out of nowhere. I know, yeah, it's like up here in, you know, in the Northwest. It'll suddenly go from sunny to rain. So, and he's trying to figure out where they are, and he uses his phone with the compass, and all of a sudden he loses his footing, and he's holding on. She's asking for her help, and they sort of fall down in this cave. The same cave those two dogs are in. There's the same pool of water, and you know, they're stuck, and they sort of build a fire, and then she's thirsty, so he pulls out a bottle, what's left of their water, and then pulls another bottle, and then looks over and sees this pool of water. And there's something going on with this water that plays in the whole story, and so he decides, you know, to try it, and it seems fine. So he drinks it and then fills up. They drink it, and they spend the night in this cave, and he starts having this weird dream. He has really, really, really kind of unnerving dreams. Tim does, where it looks like when he breathes, it seems like the cave is breathing, and and they see this bell that has an eye on it. And it looks like as if the cave is sort of alive. He wakes up and, well, essentially their legs are stuck together. And he points out, he says it might, you know, not realizing what's really going on. And they pull him and he goes, it might be mildew. No, this is not mildew. This is the beginning of the hell they're going to go through. It's just the beginning of the nightmare that is to come for these two. And it takes, and give them credit, they take their time. I mean, the director, Michael Shanks, who's Australian, by the way, this story takes its time. It doesn't rush anything. It lets everything breathe. The way that, you know, slowly it starts to everything, you know, we see Tim physically getting sick when Millie gets away from, like, when it, you know, and he doesn't understand. It's like he says his body and his brain are not connected. They're not communicating anymore. That is important to this story. So they wake up, and they get out of the cave, and they think everything's fine. They don't think about it. You can see where when they pulled apart, you see, you know, he on his leg where his skin's missing. And I swear to God, the way the camera is, Dave Franco looks like he has really skinny legs. I know that's from afar, so it makes his legs look really skinny, which I know he doesn't have really skinny legs. Give him credit. He's actually willing to get naked in this movie. I mean, and, you know, he does show his ass off in the movie. Yeah. For all the women and gay guys wanting to know what Dave Franco's ass looked like in a shower, that's in the movie. Hell, it's in the trailer, you know, weirdly enough. I saw the trailer without it really giving anything away. So they're going about, and he's going to go out of town and to, you know, travel, and she can't drive him all the way because he doesn't have a license. Turns out he only has a learner's permit. And they go, their neighbor, the teacher, Jamie, comes over. He has dinner. And she said, I insist on you coming in. And, you know, they have dinner and everything, and then he talks about how, they start talking and everything, and this is, the whole thing with and they bring about when they were in this cave. Was there some type of temple or whatever? And he goes, there was a church, and that church plays a big part in what's going on in this movie. And he's hiding stuff from both of them. And you'll notice something on his hand. He's wearing 2 wedding rings. That gave a clue what's really this movie's, when it says together. What's really going on? I sort of figured out about Jamie, but I wasn't sure. The 2 wedding rings, because most people, when they lose a partner, they don't tend to put the other wedding ring on. They tend to keep it, sometimes wear it around their neck or whatever, but they don't wear it usually on their finger with their own wedding ring. And so that was kind of a tell that once you later see what's going on, you're like, oh, the 2 wedding rings gave it away. And so, yeah, and then things really start to pick up when she takes him to the train station. She drives away. No, before that, he's going to take a shit. This is part was in the trailer a bit of she tells him, after they come back, I think they came back from the cave, whatever. She's going to go into town while he stays back and takes a shower because I forget what they were talking. Oh yeah, they have no food, and he brings up the fact that he cooks because she can't and makes him feel trapped. He mentions that at dinner. They're talking about relationships and how everybody's looking for their better half. Yeah, and he brings up that she brings up that he doesn't know how to drive. He only has a learning permit, and that works for her because he knows how to cook and she doesn't, and that makes him feel kind of trapped, which she gets mad, after he leaves it, and I might be going a little bit I'm kind of going all over the place a little bit, but yeah, she eventually decides to go to the store without him. He tells him to clean up, and so he's in the shower. And he's starting to take a shower, and then she drives away. She goes, and all of a sudden his eyes start to close. His brain is he's going to sleep, and then his body physically reacts which way she's going. And this is where the things start really going crazy. His body is taken over. His mind's shutting down when he sleeps. He brings that up later to where he says, it's like, I'm always tired, and it's like, my body moves when I'm asleep. And you see this in the shower, and he's being tossed around in the shower, and then eventually he falls down, and he wakes up, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And then he puts puts a Band-Aid on, and then it's time for him to go travel, and she can take him to the train station. She gets him there, and then she leaves. All of a sudden, he starts physically getting sick. Like his body's literally making him sick. So he leaves his stuff and starts walking back and she's at the school. And he makes it to her school, and she sees him and goes outside and gets him, and then all of a sudden he has this thirst. He even said that I have this like unsatiable thirst to be with her. He doesn't understand what's going on. And then they go into the boys' bathroom and they have sex. Yeah. And unfortunately, they can't pull themselves apart. They're like stuck. It's like what's gonna happen is already starting to happen. They're sort of like their bodies are already like this. Kind of like this, and they can't. And oh my God, what she does to pull them apart is like she goes like this and goes, sorry, and then yeah, it's actually harder to watch when you're a guy watching this. Like, oh, okay, that's messed up. Yeah, because they couldn't pull themselves apart. They were literally stuck together. And he knows what's going on. Jamie obviously knows. She tells him to get up on the toilet, not make a sound. And after the kid leaves, because he heard them having sex, tells Jamie comes in. Basically, he sends the kid back to school, back to class. She apologized because she went to the boys' restroom. And then as he's walking away, he sees, like I said, Jamie knows more than he lets on. And she's really upset with him because it's like she could lose her job over this, so she decides to go to apologize to him. And she goes over to Jamie's house where she apologizes for what happened. He blows it off because he knows what's really going on. And because of the cave and the water. So he's fine with it. She, and he tells her a story about Zeus. I think he said it was I forget who he mentioned. He said that man was once born with 4 arms and 4 legs and 2 faces. And Zeus feared our power, so he separated us into 2 beings. We're always trying to find our other half to feel connected. So, yeah, that plays all into the story. It's a terrifying movie. I mean, this is unsettling. At times graphic, body horror. There is some practical, prosthetics used, especially in one scene of the movie, but man, does this movie make you get under your skin. Oh, God. It's still sticking with me. This movie really, really fucked with me. I'm not able to do anything but think about the movie. And, so, yeah, and he tells him this, and asks her, do you love him? And he goes, yeah. And basically the whole idea is that if this becoming, coming together, become the perfect being. That's a key to this movie. But yeah, it's what happens, God, I love this movie. It is really the best, most unsettling horror movie you'll watch this year. Give it to the cast. I'm not quite done with the review. This is one where I really have to go into it. Because it's a mind fuck of a movie. You don't realize it. I get why Alan of Film Threat walked out. This movie will make you uncomfortable. It really will. And the acting is superb. I've said, wow, the acting in this, and give it to the main actors here are Dave Franco, Alison Brie, and Damien Herman. And of course, Melanie, she comes in a couple of times in the movie, like when they're having a conversation and everything. And she brings up that her parents are coming in to visit and everything. That does come in the movie. And at one point, she's like, I don't want you to be here when my parents get here. They're fighting, like any couple would, when she doesn't understand. He's trying to explain to her what's going on. She doesn't buy it. He shows up at the house and he goes, he's trying to explain to her that he can't be away from her. And she doesn't believe him. Then she's upset with him, and they're fighting and everything. And she says, I don't want you to be here. My parents get here. And so they sleep in separate rooms. And then that night's where, no, actually, he's working. She's in bed. And all of a sudden, he's looking up stuff because of a missing couple. He gets told about this missing couple from his therapist. He looks into it. Yeah. That's another sort of subplot to the movie that plays into this whole movie. Nothing in this movie is used and not comes into the whole story. Like the whole thing with the dogs comes back with the daughter, and she's drawn a picture of what shows the 2 dogs starting, at the face coming together, and it's clear they're not enjoying what's happening to them. That's the key of this movie. It's not something you would want to go through. And so, yeah, and all of a sudden she's coming down. Her body wants to be with him. She's now experiencing what he went through when he was asleep and his body was moving. And he opened the thing. She falls on top of him, trying to literally get with his body. He slaps her, and she freaks out on him. Goes, you know something? I don't think you should be here with my parents. So they're sleeping in separate bedrooms, and all of a sudden, he's asleep, and he wakes up, and he's being dragged by his body into the hallway. And then next thing, you look over, and the door's trying to open, and then here she comes. Oh, this nightmare is about to get worse. And all of a sudden, they can't stop themselves. They're trying to keep apart, and then all of a sudden, she's going, what the hell's going on? Their hands come together, and then you see this. Oh my God, it's so fucking unsettling. You see their hands, literally, the skin come around their hands, and you see it like this, like on the poster here. this image right here, this is literally when you see their hands together, it's like, oh, okay, this is fucked up. Yeah. And their face don't hide how fucked up. And you see Dave Franco he has an amazing way of making you see his emotion through his face. Like when she's coming, he's giving this horror look on his face, like, oh my God. Like I said, he is so good at expressing his face in a way to either show his emotions, and here you see horror in his face as she's coming towards him, and he's telling, let's fight. They were able to pull themselves apart, and she's like, what the hell's going on? And we're getting towards the end of the movie, by the way, at this point. So she decides to go. She wants to, oh yeah. And unfortunately they pass out and they're stuck together on their arm. This is probably the most gruesome scene in the whole movie, is that she tapes him down to a chair and says, we don't have time. And I'm not sure if the saw that she grabs, because it was left by his dad for him. And they're going to cut themselves apart. She's going to cut them apart and basically he realizes, oh shit, this thing wants to really, and he goes, go for it. So we start to see her cut through, and it hurts like hell. They eventually get separated, wrap themselves up, and they decide they have to stay separated, because otherwise it's going to get worse. Well, that whole thing does come back in the movie. So she basically wants to leave, but then remembers she left her keys. He wants to go to the cave and find out what really happened to this couple. So when she goes to get the keys, she's going back to Jamie's place because she left her keys there last time she forgot that she did. And she gets there, and we see him rush to get to the cave. These two will play almost like one right after that. They're back and forth. And she gets to the house, and Jamie's door goes in, and he wanted to show her his wedding video. Well, this is the big clue of the fucking movie, that what's really going on. And it turns out there's a cult behind this. Oh, I'm getting into spoilers of this movie. Yeah. And Tim goes into the cave, and he's looking around the flashlight, and he sees basically what the church, and you see in the wedding what the church looked like, and you see in this hole where the cave is, this used to be the church that fell in. You see the bell that was at the top. And all of a sudden, he gets tripped. This will fuck your head up. Okay, I'm going to say something. If you choose to fight, this is why what's happening to them, if you try to fight it, you end up seeing what happens when you try to resist this whole idea of becoming one being, like you're seeing here. This missing couple, and they're a monstrosity. And this is why I said the practical effects in this movie, the prosthetics, are terrifying. They literally they're in a lot of excruciating. They want to die. You hear them, they're begging for him to end their life. There's a knife in their throat. They're not a complete creature. It's because they tried to resist this, what their bodies want to do, that they became this monster. It is hard to watch. And we go back to the house, and she's seeing him and his. Remember the two wedding rings I said? Okay, what we're about to see is this cult believes, and you see the symbol. It's two people back to back. Yeah, this cult believes that we were two people in one, that Zeus separated, or God, because he feared mankind. So, and symbolized that Jamie and his husband because of this cult, they cut themselves with their rings, and they fused into one unified person. He even says this is the most intimate thing, and he wants her to complete it with Tim. Not with him, with Tim. So he's telling her this is the most, there's nothing unnatural about this, complete the ritual, become one with Tim. He doesn't say that outright, but that's why he cuts her, and what we see is if you don't do it, you become an ugly monstrosity where he pulls out a knife and cuts the finger. Oh, it's hard to watch. Yeah. So he gets out of the cave, and he gets back and sees her, and he doesn't know she's been cut, and she's hiding her arm like this, bleeding. And basically, he's saying, we got to stay apart, but all of a sudden their bodies are pulling themselves together, and then he's telling her, the only way for this to end is, is for him he wants to kill himself. But then he knows that she's bleeding, the blood's coming towards him, and he knows this is a cut. Then he basically puts his right hand on her left arm and does this, and then she wakes up and their hands are fused, here to keep her alive. This is the part of the movie where they bring up the Spice Girls. Her character loves the Spice Girls, so he pulls out the record that he bought her, and he puts it on. And they decide they're going to complete the ritual. Okay. So they put on the song, and the song they put on is stuck in my head, and I've heard it over. It's the Spice Girls, To Become One. Okay, they play this, and they decide they take off the bandage clothes. I don't know how they got their hand. Remember, his hand's like this, and they're stuck together. So I don't know how he got the shirt off, because he's standing over here, she's here, and yeah, his right hand's keeping her alive. And I don't know how he got the shirt all the way off. And then you hear him ripping the bandage off. Now, what comes next is their bodies start to become one being. And you can see bones breaking and everything. And yeah. And it's hard to watch. And they get up close to the eyes. I mean, they're kissing everything. And you can see his arms going behind her. And eventually one of the arms is way down on the ground between their... Yeah, and you see their eyes come together, and then when you finally see, they're really merging into one being. This is why it's called Together. And then we cut, the song fades out, and the score is beautiful for this movie. I mean, it's at times very unsettling. And we come back, her parents show up, they ring the bell. Oh yeah, by the way, it's the cult bell that now they have people ring. Like I said, the cult thing comes into the movie, and he opens the door, and you can tell it's Alison Brie, and they've combined. And it's the funny thing that cracked me up is when she says, "Hi," it's Dave Franco's voice. So it's Dave Franco's voice coming out of Alison Brie's, and it's clearly her, but it's a fused being. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what makes this movie hard for some people to sit through. It's body horror, and it's a terrifying idea that your bodies, if you drink this, are going to become one, do this. And the fact they give in to do it, it's like, it's the only way that she can live. Otherwise, she'll die because of what he did. So this is the only way they can truly be together. And imagine if, let's say, you end up in this cave, let's say, with your dog, and your dog drinks the water, you drink the water. Your bodies now are going to want to fuse. Oh God, that whole idea is terrifying. Imagine you're with your son. Imagine a father takes his kid and ends up in this cave. They both drink the water. They're going to fuse into one being. Let that sink in. This movie is absolutely fucked up. That's what makes it terrifying, is that what's happened to them could happen to anyone. If they drink this water, you literally can't. Your bodies are wanting to become one thing. Your dog drinks from it, you drink from it, you're going to fuse with your dog. What the fuck? Imagine a parent and their infant. Holy crap. Yeah, this is what makes this movie unsettling, is the idea that they can't escape their fate. Their fate is sealed the moment they drink this water. And as much as they fight, in the end, when you see what happens if you try to resist the change, becoming one being, you're going to become a monster. So they do have to accept that they're going to become a new being. And it's like, yeah, that's what he's trying to tell them is, don't resist this. It's literally the worst thing you could do for yourself. You will become a monstrosity. So yeah. And I love this movie. This movie is unnerving in what it does. It's like body horror in the right way. It's not for everyone. This movie might mess with you in a way you weren't expecting. I love the movie. I saw it twice on the same day. I was just like, wow. The score, the director of photography, it's actually filmed in Australia, even though it's supposed to be America. I was like, wow. And there's another movie called The Better Half, which this guy, I don't know his name offhand, he made in 2023. He accused the movie of plagiarizing his movie. They have a similar plot in the fact that it's about two people becoming one person. But there is a big difference. In his, it's apparently after these two individuals have a one night stand, they start to fuse together. Here, it's due to this water that they drink that makes their bodies basically want to become one person. As much as they try to fight it, they're not going to escape it. So yeah, I think there is a difference in the fact, but he's saying that his script was, they obviously, somebody got the hold of his script and used it to make this movie. But unless I see that movie, all I can say is I think there are differences between the two. That, you know, if I'm right about that movie, from what I understand, it's about a one night stand that ends with them getting stuck together. This movie's about, two people unfortunately not knowing that drinking this water was going to make them end up fusing into one person. But yeah, it's a movie everybody should see. If you can handle it, see it. It's great. It's enjoyable. I saw it the same day I saw The Naked Gun and Bambi: The Reckoning. So yeah, and I saw it twice and I enjoyed it. And Thursday I'm going to go see Weapons twice. Oh yeah, I've already bought the tickets. And I'm looking forward to that movie. I was like, wow, this movie absolutely is unsettling. It really is. But it's worth seeing, and I highly recommend it. What I tell you that happened, I mean, if you don't see it for yourself, you're going to be like, oh, that doesn't make that plot. Nah, that wouldn't happen. Yeah, it does happen. I mean, it is hard to watch if you can't handle body horror, if you can't handle the idea of becoming one person. And this, I'm just giving you the basic story. I'm not even telling you all the shit that goes on. There's stuff I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, but it's worth seeing. I highly recommend it. This is Gilgamesh. I will talk to you later. Bye.